Captain Gamester, Gamester, the Gamester. It's Captain Gamester. That's me. Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to my introductory SMITE video. So today I'm going to cover the basics for you Nintendo Switch players who are curious about this game and want to give it a shot, or if you're just getting started. There's a lot to take in, but I'm just going to start with some of the basics today. So first of all, SMITE is a free-to-play MOBA game, which means it's a multiplayer online battle arena where you have maps that are basically equal. They just kind of flip them, that divide it into different lanes, and you're supposed to attack and defeat objectives like towers and phoenixes, and then the final boss, or the titan. Each lane has a role. There's a warrior or a solo lane that has the shortest distance between the two towers, generally played as by warriors. Then you have the middle lane, which is generally played by mages, and then you have the duo lane, which is the one that has the longer two towers, opposite of the solo lane, and that's usually carry and support. Finally, you got a jungler, who's usually an assassin, running around the map. Alright, so when you first boot up the game to play, you'll see this menu here, very pretty. You want to hit play. The general popular modes is Conquest, that's the main 5v5 mode. There's Joust, 3v3. And then there's other modes like limited edition ones. There's an arena where you just kind of fight most of the time, and you'll see them and how they differ. But the main two ones are Conquest and Joust. And when you do play Conquest, please stick to your role. Learn a different character from each of the classes, so that way you can still pick the two you really want to play by pressing L on Conquest, and you can pick the two like, oh, I want to be solo and mid. But you still might get a different role, like a jungler or something, or carry. So try to be familiar with at least one character in each class, so you can still contribute to the team. Alright, so today I want to just explain how to get going. So we'll go to play, then we'll go to practice, jungle practice, and it'll cue you right in. When you do another mode, it'll usually take 30 seconds, 15, a minute. It'll give you a countdown timer. But jungle practice is instant, and you can try all kinds of items and characters for free. Now, I also want to say this game has characters you can select each season that are free. They have a little green circle on the upper left. Other than that, you can use favor, which you get by playing. The little golden stars you'll see. Those can be used to purchase characters if you don't want to spend money. So technically, over time, I recommend you can just kind of purchase the characters you want. If you're going to spend money on this game, it's still a great idea if you really like it to just buy the character pack. But I would suggest using your money for the gems, so you can purchase skins in the battle pass. You do get free stuff in the battle pass as well, like other free-to-play games. But I think it's worth it when you start spending some money and getting all the cool cosmetics and stuff. Alright, so the two things that you really need to know about are your abilities and your items. So let's get rocking with those. Alright, so when I first started playing and no one taught me, I had no clue. I was like, what are my abilities? I just kept running around and just trying to hit people and stuff. But lo and behold, well, on the Switch, on the bottom right, you'll see your abilities there, normally referred to as ability 1, 2, 3, and 4, or your ult. And everyone also has a passive. The passive ability is the one that basically is kind of always ongoing and unique. And essentially every level, you can put 1 point in an ability. Every point you put gives you a new tier and a new increase in what it does. It might do more damage, it might cool down faster, it might have a new effect. And your ult, you can only do every 5 levels. So, when you learn your character, watch my videos, watch other videos, read online, people have preferences on what abilities they level up. Maybe they focus on bringing one up to the max, maybe they spread it out. It really depends on your character and your strategy. So, with that being said, each time you level up, put a point in those abilities, alright? Then, when you do use your abilities, they have a cooldown, which will generally appear as a timer, right? You'll see a numbered countdown once you activate an ability by hitting that corresponding button you can see. And it'll be like 10 seconds. So obviously you have to wait 10 seconds before you use the ability again. And to activate the ability or to level it up, you want to bring up that menu and then hit the button that corresponds to it underneath. Now, on the other side of things, you have items, and that's like the huge kind of custom aspect of this game, because you can make your character kind of play a certain way in a different way depending on their items. Once again, you can start to take your time to learn and read about each item and what it does, as far as increasing power, protections, and giving other special abilities. and it's a lot. So again, you can watch other videos, read online, and see what people generally use for the character in what mode to kind of start it out, and you get familiar. So same thing, whenever you defeat enemies, you level up. That's what it lets you put a point in your abilities from your experience. You also gain gold, and gold is what you spend when you go back to your base, which is where you start, and that's where you can purchase items. So when you're in your base, you hit the left on the D-pad, and then you'll bring up the store, and you can sort those out by seeing them in their max final form, or you can see them kind of as they level up, because each weapon can also can be bought and leveled up. So you don't just buy it outright. You buy like one item, and then you can see it branches into a split path, and then it goes up, and then you reach the top, and then that's the final form. But you can still see whenever you buy each iteration of the weapon, or the item, it still gives you a little bit of a bonus. Alright guys, so that's the very, very basics. Starting out. The last thing is control scheme. Please, I recommend hit pause, go to settings, do two things. Switch to Savage Plus. Put your abilities up here. You can also use the two triggers to make your alt go off, or X. And as you can see, the layout makes it a lot more convenient. I've played a lot of different control schemes, and with other people who've come from PC or have played on Switch, this is generally the favorite consensus. Your mileage may vary, but I suggest you check out Savage Plus and try it. Lastly, go to the other settings and then set up the ruler distance, the targeting bracket, so you know what you can see, and that'll make things a lot easier when you're fighting and knowing what you're kind of like targeting and attacking, and then what your ability can reach as you get used to it, because each ability has like a distance or a maximum range that it's effective at. Cool. Oh, and last thing, let me just quickly speak on the classes. So there is the warrior class. They're the physical hitters, who are generally built with more in-class protection and HP, so they can take a little bit more damage, tank more damage. Then there's the mages, who are, a little bit more fragile, but they have the magical attacks, and they have the AoE abilities, that can hit from far away, hit large groups and stuff. You have the guardians, who are like warriors, but they're magical based. They also have more protections, generally in HP. And they tend to have a little bit more abilities that affect the enemies, like slows them down, or like stuns them so they can't do anything, or roots them in place so they're stuck. Now, warriors and other classes can do that, of course, but guardians are generally the ones that do that with the protection and HP. The warriors, they also can kind of do a little bit of mix of that, but it's kind of like, warriors give you the HP, or the physical damage, guardians give you the magical damage. Finally, you have hunters, who are physical based, who can shoot range attacks, and their regular attacks that you just fire normally can be doing tons of damage over time, and are great for destroying towers and objectives. And then the assassins, who are also physical, basically also do a lot of damage, but are close range, but they don't have the HP and the natural protections that like the warrior would have. So those are the 5 main classes. Again, you'll obviously find your favorite class or classes and your favorite characters, but do get familiar with one of each in the beginning, just so that way you can play the different roles in Conquest. Unless maybe you play Joust all the time, in which case you can kind of get away with being, almost anything you want. People still build like balanced teams. But when you're playing for casual fun, as long as you're doing your best to win and help your team out, have fun. Cool, guys. All right, guys, thanks for joining me, Captain GameStar. Please leave me any comments, give me some advice, share your mind, let's have some fun conversations, and don't forget, hit that like button and subscribe.